Well, the head of Indiana's House Republicans says he won't tolerate unruly behavior from his GOP colleagues. This is after a number of Republicans heckled members of the Black Caucus last month while they were speaking on the House floor. Democrats are pressuring the GOP to take action and, among other things, require lawmakers to go through racial bias training. My colleague Adam Pinsker has been following this story. He joins us now from the State House with more on the ongoing tensions.
Representative Robin Shackelford, who is in charge of the Indiana Legislative Black Caucus, says she had a productive meeting with Speaker Todd Huston about the incident a couple weeks ago, but says there's still work to be done. What started out as a debate over a school de-annexing bill on February 18th quickly spiraled out of control.
Here we go again. The discrimination and segregation, the things like that is excuse me, I have a right. Mr. Speaker, we're going to stop my remarks.
Can all members just
no,
take
it's
a
not.
deep
No,
breath?
it's
Go right ahead,
impugning me as a legislator to say what I feel.
Representative Jake Teschka's bill would allow Green Township to break away from the South Bend School Corporation and join the John Glenn School District. Teschka says a majority of students in Green Township aren't attending schools in South Bend, so de-annexing makes sense.
Out of the roughly 400 school-age kids in Green Township, South Bend is currently educating 88 of those.
Teschka says if the governor signs the bill into law, the State Board of Education would still have to approve the plan. Voters in Green Township would also have to pass a referendum before de-annexing. He says the South Bend district would not lose out on property tax revenue for at least a decade if the de-annexation is successful.
South Bend did pass a referendum last year, and if this process moves forward and if Green Township were to de-annex, they would still be paying on that referendum through its 10-year course.
Teschka says the same legislation passed the Senate twice last year with bipartisan support, but when it was brought up again in last month's House session, members of the Black Legislative Caucus said a bill paving the way for a mostly white township to break away from a predominantly black and brown school district has racist overtones.
And I don't care how you twist it, how you paint it, how you disguise it, how you camouflage it, it's racism. You can boo if you want to.
The tension spilled out into the hallway where State Representative Vanessa Summers says Republican Representative Sean Eberhardt lunged toward her. After the incident, the head of the Indiana Legislative Black Caucus, Representative Robin Shackelford, requested more Indiana State Police be posted at the Indiana Government Center where legislative sessions are being held due to the COVID-19 pandemic.
During that incident, the Indiana State Police just happened to be away from their detail right there in front of the chamber. So we got to talk to Superintendent Carter. I spoke to him personally. He's going to make sure that there's someone at all times securing the chamber.
Shackelford also wants the members who were heckling during the session to be censured, and she wants all lawmakers to go through anti-racism training.
Whether it's 5 or 10 people can get together and talk about their experiences and how those experiences affect their decision-making, and something that everyone has to do.
Shackelford and other members of the Black Caucus organized a silent protest called Days of Action to bring attention to what they say is blatant disrespect being shown by the House Republican supermajority.
When you're bigger than the little guy, your tone is not respectful always. And that's the way I view what is happening down here.
Vice Chair of the Indiana Democratic Party, Cordelia Lewis-Burks, once served as a lobbyist in the 80s and 90s. She says Democrats and Republicans worked together during that time, even when they disagreed. She says longtime Republican Speaker of the House Brian Bosma, who retired last year, wouldn't have tolerated what occurred in the chamber last month.
I know we've got a novice in the Speaker's office, and this is nothing against him. I think they're taking advantage of him. But I think if Brian was still around, this would not have occurred.
Current Speaker of the House Todd Huston didn't respond to our request for an interview, but during a meeting of the House last week, he told lawmakers that he will strictly enforce rules of decorum from now on.
I don't want to be heavy-handed in enforcement. It's not my nature to be heavy-handed in enforcement, but make no mistake, moving forward, that will be the case.
Representative Shackelford and Teschka agree that the current state of national politics and the constraints of holding a legislative session under COVID-19 restrictions are contributing to the tension between Democrats and Republicans.
I went up to Representative Smith and Representative Porter after the whole thing happened on the floor and extended my hand to them. And you could tell that the emotion in their eyes is genuine.
The call to action days will continue next week here at the State House. For Indiana Newsdesk, I'm Adam Pinsker.